Welcome back everyone to another edition of Awesomeness News Reporting. Well, Paul, we are back again for another interesting story about different pedagogies and how they affect our students. Tonight we will be looking at field-based learning in education and how it affects students' real-world experiences.
That's right, Lucy, and what an interesting story it is. We go to Kelly with the report.
Thanks, Paul and Lucy. Today we will be looking into field-based learning within education. Teachers have been using it for many years in many different ways. Field-based learning is a pedagogy that occurs when learning for the student is taken outside the traditional confines of the classroom. Field-based learning gives students some real-world time to hone their experiences in any given field. This can be done simply as, say, a science course being taught outside in nature to assignments that must be completed out in real-world experiences.
Wow, Kelly, that sounds like a pretty cool classroom.
I totally agree, Paul. I wish I had had a classroom experience like that.
How do the teacher and student fare in this pedagogy, Kelly?
Well, Paul, field-based learning really works great for students as it can reach multiple intelligences and access skill sets not often utilized within the traditional classroom. Students use their time during field trips to interact in the new environment, ask questions, etc. Meanwhile, the teacher must center students on important facts and things that they should be taking away from their field trip experience. Keeping students asking questions about the place they are experiencing is another important role that a teacher must fulfill.
That sounds fantastic, but what are any advantages or disadvantages to using this method?
Oh, I can answer that, Lucy, with this. I knew that was going to be awesome. You know, my niece attends a local university and I think they use this field-based learning.
Really? Where does she go?
She attends Athens State University and has told me about this method. The university has their teaching students participate in what is called field experience. In this field experience, they gain real-world experience within a classroom and get to interact with real teachers and students. This leads to more confident and experienced future teachers.
Wow, your niece sounds really with it.
Yes, I'm so proud of her. Anyways, here we go back to Kelly for information on the research behind this pedagogy. Kelly.
Well, Paul, I have found that most of the research into field-based learning has centered around earth and science studies. Research has shown that students retain information better when they are out in the field using knowledge to complete tasks. They are much more engaged than they would be in a traditional classroom learning session about the same information. I turn for the moment to Professor McGovern to hear what he has to say. Professor?
I think it's very important for students to undertake field trips as part of their studies because it offers them the opportunity precisely to get out of the university, to get into real world settings, meet real people dealing with real issues in the real world. And that's why we, throughout the 3 years of the time that people are here, they're students with us, is they have the opportunity to go on a number of different field trips.
Thank you, Professor. Research has also shown that students that participate in field-based learning had an increase in critical thinking skills, higher tolerance levels, and a sense of historical empathy. Field-based learning is also critical for maintaining and drawing interest to museums, historical sites, and archaeological dig sites. Attendance to these locations give them funding for expansion and allow them to remain for the future generations. Well, Paul and Lucy, this wraps up my report on field-based learning. I hope it was as interesting for you as it was for me. Good night.
Thanks for the great report, Kelly. It's amazing that there are so many different types of teaching styles and how they all can help students achieve learning in different ways.
I agree, Paul. Although I think this one is probably my favorite. I remember doing in the field work before I became a reporter. It was great. Up next on Awesomeness News Reporting. How much chocolate is too much, and is it the best thing ever or what?
Ha 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 ha. I love chocolate.